Shalom, shalom, family. It's been a long time. There's been a lot that has happened, good things, but I wanted to make sure I showed my face. This is, of course, live, not live, but you know what I mean, like real raw as usual. I am from the States, from Connecticut to be exactly, and I lived in Australia. This is where I was recording a lot of my content. I lived there for 9 years, and almost a month ago, my husband and I we're in Ghana, we're in Africa. So I'm gonna show you a little bit of the area that we're in. There's a really nice area in the back, but I'll just kind of give you a little quick tour of a little bit of the neighborhood. But it's awesome. It's been awesome. It's been tiring. We've been so tired because there's lots to do to kind of just settle yourself. Just to kind of settle yourself. But it's been lovely. It's warm, but it's just so peaceful. We live in an area where it's in the mountains, so less bugs. The heat is tolerable. It's not like it's like too much. The heat's as you can see, my hair's blowing in the wind here because it's windy. Like I said, we're in the mountains area. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. The experiences have been wonderful, but we have had a lot to do, mainly because there's just some things that you have to do when you come here to just make sure you're settled. But we're getting pretty settled here. It's pretty good. I wanted to come in here and just share, because I know I've been going through Peter, and some of my content has been about making sure that we're doing. Let me just show you some of the area here. That's just the front, like the other side. If I were able to go on the roof, you'll see a bunch of mountains, but it's really cool here. It's really, really cool. This is part of our neighborhood. Really cool. People have their little compounds, and so it's really good. It's been definitely a challenging, but not in a bad way. Just challenging as in, your faith being tested, and just making sure your eyes are on Yah, or if you know him, God, your eyes on Yah. Hello, little kitty. Like sometimes when it comes to the electricity, actually the past week and a half, I think, hasn't gone off, but when it does, it's like really no more than like 20 minutes, unless there's some sort of storm, or the internet has been pretty wonky lately. And there's just some things that are just different here, that you have to do. And you're just depending on Yah. You really are. And not just depending on him, but actually using your faith. My husband and I, my mom, were watching a couple of videos on faith, and the fact that we have the measure of faith. Each and every one of us has that to be able to do whatever it is that he calls us to do. We've been using it. And I'm not talking about just like things that are uncomfortable, but things that are like unexpected, sometimes uncomfortable, but not like uncomfortable, like when the electricity goes off for 20 minutes, you know what I mean? You'll survive. But just other things like learning different way of life, and the challenges that come with just differences. Even when I moved from the States and went to Australia, that's the West, they're all Western countries, but I still had to learn, there were things that I had to learn that were uncomfortable, so that's just the way of life. And I'm more talking about the uncomfortable stuff because it's been amazing here. Like I can list off amazing things here, but the uncomfortable stuff, because that's where we tend to have the issues of making sure that we're treating people right when, you know, things get a little bit, I'm trying to think of a example. So I forgot what it was. A couple days ago, my husband and my mom were going to the gym, and I woke up to a sound, and I wasn't sure what it was. I assumed maybe it was a pump, but I wasn't sure what it was. But I kind of called out to my mom, and I came out and saw nothing. And then literally 5 minutes later, the neighbors, because the doorbell here is pretty loud, and I hear 2 aggressive rings, because it's pretty aggressive. And I'm like, what is going on? So I come out of my room, and I'm telling you guys, when I say a river, there was a river of water coming through the apartment. Basically what happened was the pump where the filter comes through, I guess it must have been blocked, and the thing popped off, and it just, all the water was coming out. And anyway, when, you know, because things here are a little bit slower, they're a little bit slower and a little bit kind of, as my husband says, Hakuna Matata, there are so many times that you could be like, you know, talking to the plumber or talking to the landlord and being kind of short a little bit because, but then, you know, one of the things that, you know, like I noticed that my husband did was he went, you know, he was in the room while me and my mom were kind of like, kind of doing other things, and he was in there and just checking himself, checking his heart, and getting together with Yah. And I was putting on music and just singing. There's a song that I love called Thank You, Lord. And I forgot who it's by, otherwise I'd tell you guys. But just singing, and then I'm cooking, getting ready for Sabbath, and just getting our hearts together, because you could get a little bit like, because I actually wasn't feeling good that day. That's why my husband and my mom were out, and I didn't, and it was a good thing I didn't go. But so imagine kind of waking up and then having to deal with that. You could have a very stinky attitude, and yeah, that could ruin your day. But instead we chose to just stop and just go to the Lord and make sure that our hearts were right, you know what I mean? Filled with no complaining. Sometimes it's hard to give thanks, you know what I mean? How it says give thanks in all circumstances. Sometimes it's hard to do that, but you cannot complain. You can get yourself together and not complain. And that was one of the things that we were doing, was just getting ourselves together and not complaining. And yeah, that's one of the examples that I can share with you. That was a real life example. Yeah, it was when I say flood, a river, I mean that. I'm not one to exaggerate like that. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my goodness. Yeah, so I just wanted to share kind of where I am, but also share that experience so that you know that, you know, as I'm sitting here reading and saying, let's do this and let's do that, that I really am like being real about the, what do you call it? The experiences, the trials, I guess, the experiences, but showing you what I chose to do, how I chose to do it. And sometimes it can, not this time, but sometimes it can take you, you know, a minute or two. I don't want anyone to feel like discouraged, like, well, it took me a half hour. That's okay, because the point is you got yourself together, and that's what the Father wants. He wants us to grow in that. It doesn't mean like as soon as something hits, you need to, you know, sometimes it doesn't happen. Sometimes things are worse than others, and you got to really gather yourself together. So be encouraged if you are gathering yourself together, you know. So yeah, that was, I guess, me sharing about how I dealt with that. Just doing all that I can to make sure that I'm thinking on things that are positive, and instead of like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So hopefully that was encouraging to you guys. I know I'll have more to come. Just give me a little bit of time, because I know I was saying, I think I said every week, but because things are a little different here, sometimes the electricity's, you know, gone, and I'll record something, but it may not come out, you know, for maybe 3 days later or something like that. So just be patient with me. But yeah, we're here. We're in Ghana. It's been awesome. It's been awesome here. Like I said, look at, you know, my hair is going, the wind, it feels great. But anyway, I love you guys, and yeah, I'll have more to share. Again, I wanted to be real and raw so that the people that need stuff like this, like the real raw stuff that encourages you, people's real lives and the real reactions, and yeah, and I'll come here also not just telling you how I've been victorious, but even if it's something that took me a day because I just wasn't feeling good and I just did not, you know what I mean? We can grow together. So anyway, I don't want this to be too long. You know how I am. I pray that you all will have a wonderful day, evening, whenever you're watching this, and pray for me. And if you all need any prayers, just put them down in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment. And the reason why I said this in other videos, but for the newcomers, it's not because I want 50 million subscribers or anything like that. I just want the people that need it, even if it's 10 people for the next 10 years, I don't care. But the people that need it, they get this video and it encourages them, because we really need to be encouraging each other in this walk, because we need to walk circumspectly. We need to walk perfectly before our Father. And if you don't know what that means, because when we hear perfectly, we hear without any mistakes, and that's not what I'm saying, let me know in the comments and I'll be sure to explain what I mean. But we need to definitely get it together, you know what I mean? And I want to be, like I said, a grow up channel where we get it together, and we encourage one another, and this is what it is. All right, y'all, I love you, and shalom. See ya.